Defiantly, Hosni Mubarak announced his 30-year rule will continue until September. The 82-year-old Egyptian president announced his decision after keeping his country and the world waiting for much of the day.
I will be responsible for changing the constitution and be responsible for the people until the elections of September.
After hearing Mubarak's words, the tens of thousands gathered in the country's capital began to chant, "Leave, leave." There were signs earlier that a new day was dawning in Egypt. First, a rainbow over Cairo as protesters gathered again in the city's Liberation Square.
We are free to come here. We are not afraid.
Then an army general took the stage, announcing, "All your demands will be met. It ends tonight." My ABC News colleague Terry Moran was in Liberation Square.
The crowd went crazy, starting to chant, "Allahu Akbar, God is the greatest." They sang the Egyptian national anthem together.
It was clear negotiations were taking place behind the scenes. Throughout the day, protesters were hoping for total regime change, wanting neither Mubarak,
he is a liar, he's a liar,
nor the recently appointed vice president left in charge.
Both of them are just two sides of one coin.
Despite his decision to remain as president, Mubarak said he had already transferred many of his powers to the vice president. TJ Winnick, ABC News, New York.
Mubarak's speech captured the attention of people around the world, including many right here in Metro Detroit.
Action News reporter Smitha Koloki joins us in the studio with more. Smitha?
Well, Diana and Joanne, this announcement came almost as a slap in the face to some Egyptians. They were so sure that Hosni Mubarak would step down today that they were already calling it an historic moment.
Today, we should be saying we're all Egyptians, and we should be walking with them because they're supporting the very thing, the principle of democracy, that we take here for granted.
And Sharif Akil is an Egyptian American and has watched those protests quite closely. Now, many of his cousins were in Tahrir Square today. There we saw the crowd's intensity turn from electric to anger. Protesters had called for Mubarak's departure, but when his announcement fell short of that, now that crowd was seen getting restless. Akil says Americans must stand by their Egyptian counterparts and support them in their quest for democracy. And he predicts that tomorrow there will be an increased activity among these protesters, largely because Friday is a holiday. So he says what we know as the Million Man March could soon become the multi-million man march in Egypt.
Tomorrow, there will just be an escalation of a protest that will be so overwhelming that no tank or no gun or nothing can stand in the way of a people that are so determined to be free.
And for weeks, these protests have been largely peaceful. And despite that anger in Egypt tonight, Akil says he does not believe that it will get violent tomorrow. Diana and Joanne?
Thank you, Smitha.